Good evening, people, and welcome to the Rangers Review Team News reaction video live from Ibrox ahead of tonight's Europa League clash with Sparta Prague. Joshua joins me in the bills of Ibrox Stadium, where the Rangers team has just been announced. Joshua, if you do the honours and flash it up on said screen, we'll run through that for you, folks. It is Butland in goal. Back four of Tavernier, Golston, Davis and Barisic, Lundstrom and Jack, the holding midfielders, Cantwell, Lammers and Sima supporting Danilo up top. On the bench for Rangers this evening, McCrory, Kieran Wright, Dessers, Lawrence, Fuentes, Sterling, Roof, King, Devine and Ross McCausland. Joshua, your thoughts?
Kind of as expected, Derek. I mean, we spoke about there being limited options. The only change to that starting 11, I think Chris and I predicted the same one. The only change might have been if Scott Wright recovered. He's not on the bench after his really good impact at the weekend. The only other potential alteration I thought there might be to the kind of general predicted 11 was if Jose Cifuentes came in, purely because Ryan Jack, this is his third start in a week, and as we know, he's someone who has had difficulties with injury, certainly since he came to Ibrox in the last couple of years. And because Clement's made quite a big deal of managing minutes, but it makes sense to I guess keep him in there alongside John Lundstrom to try and not unsettle a winning team as much as possible. Cantwell continues in that role from the right-hand side. We can maybe speak a little bit about how that will impact the dynamics, but you hope that with the game a little bit more open today, he can influence well, even if I think if you look back at that first half, at Hampden at the weekend, he still combines pretty well in moments. And obviously the changes to the back line of, I can see, obviously didn't like what I was saying there, Derek. Can see there the
Carry on.
The changes in the back line with David coming in for Balogun is obviously enforced because Balogun's not in the European squad. So as expected, and I think most people would have predicted that team, which has its positives as well, because it's a team that's starting to look a little bit familiar under Philippe Clement.
It certainly is. We're awaiting the Sparta Prague. Do you have the Sparta team there, Joshua? I'm trying to have a look for it.
I do.
I can't for the life of me see it. I'm on their Twitter account at the moment, and in fact, I do have their team. I'll just run through it. No idea what formation they're going to play, so apologies.
So 3-4-3. It'll be, I'd imagine, the same as last, 2 weeks ago, same as the return leg.
Yeah, Vindal, Prisedo, Gomez, Kiernan, Loatunji, Kushta, Birmancevic, Sadalik, Sorensen, Zeleny, and Vitek. I think Birmancevic is the player, Joshua, the danger man. You'd imagine the player that sort of Tavernier is out in that sort of wide left position, likes to drift in field. He's the one that Rangers will need to keep an eye on tonight.
Yeah, and he obviously had that. Obviously, people know him from the impact he had when he played for Malmo and linked up really well with Antonio Cholak here a few seasons ago. Derek, I think that it'd be interesting to see overall how Sparta approached this game tonight, because they had, for me, if you look at the return leg, I know Clement split it into two halves. For me, they had the kind of first 60 minutes of the game, and I thought they tired. But they were aggressive, they pressed man for man, pretty dangerous down the sides. Rangers are in a different shape tonight because they have a left back as opposed to the return leg. You've got Sima, who's going to be playing closer to goal. And you'd presume that Sparta will sit off the game a little bit less. I kind of felt there, being over in the game in Prague, that the mood in the stadium at full time kind of indicated that they felt it was a missed opportunity. There'll be a difficult test tonight. If Rangers have aspirations of playing Europa League football after Christmas, they need to win this game, not only on a points basis, but because they should be able to beat Sparta if they want to play European football after Christmas. But as Clement kind of repeatedly said, they're a good team, they're a dangerous team, and again, you saw that in the first hour over in the return leg. Rangers will play in that back four tonight with Borna Barisic fit, unlike the first leg. Lammers continues behind Danilo. I think Danilo's quite quietly been really effective since Clement came in. Derek led the team well with and without the ball. I think he's a really intelligent player because he links up with his team, especially when they need it. There was that example at the weekend when it was Campbell's shot when he kind of spun in behind and had the volley. And if you watch Danilo's movement in there, as we highlighted quite a lot after the Dundee game, he's got a real knack, or seems to be developing a real knack for knowing when to stay high, when to offer for the team, how to link play. John Lundstrom has looked more like the John Lundstrom of old as of late, so hopefully the Europa League anthem conjures up another good display from him on a Thursday night. And I think, again, another quiet quietly impressive individual since Clement came in has been Connor Goldson. I don't think he's really put a foot wrong so far, although that's very cliche. And has given offered real solidity in there with a variety of different defensive partners. Davies is in tonight for Balogun, who obviously is not in the European squad, so can't be considered. And we know the qualities that he'll bring in there tonight as well. So I'm sure Rangers will go for it. I'm sure they'll be aggressive from the start because it's a type of night that demands that. There's a lot of optimism, I think, in the air at the moment. They've got 2 home games to qualify for European football, the Europa League after Christmas, Derek. That's as good as you can ask for. Let's see if they can do the business tonight.
Yeah, I fancy them to get the better of their opponents. Let's rattle through a few of the comments that are coming in. David Aitken gets in touch. He says, I was hoping to see Tom Lawrence get a start, but maybe he's not quite up to speed as the rest of the squad. I think it's just about managing his minutes, David. We've seen a cameo, of course, at the weekend, and I'm sure he may come off the bench and feature at some point tonight. So, yeah, I think he's not ready just to be thrown in to start games at this moment in time. Ian Thompson says, good team, all things considered. Yeah, I think Philip Clement is pretty limited in terms of the players he can pick. You did mention after the game on Sunday that it was a bit of a puzzle, the European squad, and selecting players because, of course, you have to select your squad at the start of the season. And there's a few eyebrows raised when the squad was announced. There was it just seemed too top-heavy with forwards, and unfortunately, Rangers have suffered with the fact that Leon Balogun is not available. Ridvan not included in the European squad either. So hopefully that back four can remain unscathed and come through the game well, each and every one of them. Neil McLean with the point. It says the team picks itself at the moment. Need a big performance tonight. 2-0 Rangers he's going for Danilo and Tavernier. And John from the Isle of Man, good to have your company, John, says, would rather Cantwell through the middle with McCausland on the right. Lammers will be able again. We need a big performance from Sam Lammers. Josh, I seem to be saying that every single video that we're on at this moment in time. Sorry, go on. Opportunity, I've got to admit. I'd like to see young Ross get a chance. I think he may make an impact from the bench tonight, but Sam Lammers needs to turn up tonight. That's why he was bought.
Yeah, but I think he has in patches over the last few games, Derek. I mean, if you look at that second half in the weekend, I know people maybe won't get excited about what someone does off the ball, but he had an effective game in that second half. I totally agree that the Dundee game, that goal has been an exception in terms of he's not shown enough consistent quality in the ball. He slowed the game down at points. But equally, I think in moments he has been effective and people have kind of brushed over that as well. So I'm somewhere in the middle of that conversation. He's in there as well because he's big, and Clement said that with set pieces, especially in a European game, that's important. He's an experienced player, and I agree with you. I'd like to see McCausland get a chance. I'd probably like to see Cantwell in that number 10 spot, even if, again, sometimes I think it's a bit blown out of proportion. The reaction to him playing on the right, because in an ideal world, I don't think he's meant to be picking the ball up on the right consistently. I think he's meant to get close to Lammers, and there's been some good signs of the connection in there, even if you saw the immediate impact when there was pace arriving from the right-hand side at the weekend. So not surprised that Clement continues with the team, with the kind of experienced team that he's opted for so far. But I do agree with you. I'd like to see McCausland in there. I think he's earned the chance. Gives you an option off the bench, which does start to look stronger. You've got Cifuentes on there. Obviously, Dowell's not in the European squad. You've got Kemar Roof, who might only give you 5 or 10 minutes, as the manager said, but it's a decent option.
I'd be surprised if he featured. Listen, he must be fit enough to be on the bench, but the manager did say, like you say, Joshua, he'd rather not have him involved because he's nowhere near ready, he said.
Yeah. But you're right. He's obviously fit enough to play something to be somewhat a part of it. But I'd be surprised if we see him if he's not needed. And then the other one that's interesting, Derek, he's been a bit of a forgotten man in the last couple of months, is Jose Cifuentes, who I think is signed. I'm interested to see where he fits into this system because he's kind of been signed, I think, as a right-sided player in a 4-3-3, but Clement's very much playing a kind of double pivot in midfield, the midfield 2, 4-4-2 off the ball. But he was someone that Rangers really wanted, and it took them a long time to get him. We've not really seen that so far. We've not really seen much from him. So good to see him back on the bench. I know he's been there for a couple of weeks. Gives a little bit more depth in the middle of the pitch. But as has been the case over the last couple of weeks, It's about getting to the next international break and trying to keep this optimism that has been present for all of Clermont's 5 games, I guess, but especially since that Dundee win. Try and keep that going. Try and put yourself in a strong position in the group. And the bench is starting to look a little bit stronger. Equally, Derek, you're only a bad result away from that from that good mood being punctured. So big pressure tonight with Rangers at home. Expected to be a different game to the one a couple of weeks ago. I'm interested to see how the team does as ever. Abdallah Sima is going to be closer to goal than he was in the return leg, which I think is important. And he, again, without getting great numbers over the last couple of weeks in terms of his goals, I think he's been really effective for the team, and obviously up against his old city rivals in Sparta Prague. So interested to see how he gets on for Rangers tonight.
Yeah, come on, Abdallah, get one in the net tonight. That would be absolutely fantastic. Callum Leask, love this comment. He says, listening with my dad and brother on the way to the game. First European game at Ibrox all together. Let's go, Rangers. Absolutely superb stuff, Callum. Hope you, your brother and your dad enjoy tonight at Ibrox. And let's hope we're celebrating a Rangers victory in the Europa League. The Rangers have got a really good record at home at Ibrox in the Europa League, and let's hope that continues tonight. They've already beaten Sparta Prague, remember, on that glorious run to Seville a couple of seasons ago. Me and Joshua will be on afterwards, folks, not shortly after full time, before Joshua heads down to the mix zone to grab who he can. So we hope you can join us for that. Just a reminder of that team is Butland, Tavernier, Goldson, Davis, Barisic, Lundstrom and Jack, Sima, Lammers, Cantwell and Danilo up top. On the bench for Rangers, McCrory, Kieran Wright, Dessers, Lawrence, Fuentes, Sterling, Roof, King, Devine and McCausland. Right, folks, enjoy the game and we'll speak to you a little later on. Bye for now.